This is day 3, it's the machine learning, AI keynote, Swami's up there. A lot of announcements. We're going to break this down. We got Andy Thurai here, Vice President, Principal Analyst of Constellation Research. Andy, great to see you. You've been on theCUBE before, one of our analysts. The analysis commentary to the keynote, this is your wheelhouse, AI. What do you think about Swami up there? He got 13 announcements.
Some of the announcements really sort of like a game changer announcements, and some of them are like meh, just plug in the holes what they have. And
a lot of golf claps in the meeting today.
And you could have also noticed that when he was making the announcements, the clapping volume difference, you could say, which is better, right? Yeah. But some of the announcements are really, really good. Particularly we talked about one of that was Microsoft took the route of having the OpenAI in there doing the large language models, and then they were going after that, having the transformer available to them. And Amazon was a little bit weak in that area, so they don't have a large language model. So they are taking a different route, saying that I'll help you train the large language model by yourself, customized models. So I can provide the necessary instance, I can provide the instance volume, memory, the whole nine yards. So you can train the model by yourself without depending. Each have their own uniqueness and the variation that take it to the field, right? So for example, if you were to look at it, Microsoft is known for its industry related things that they have been going after, industry verticals and whatnot. So that's one of the things I looked here. They had this omics announcement, particularly towards that healthcare genomics space. That's a huge space for HPC related AI ML applications. And they have put a lot of things in together in here in the SageMaker and in their models, saying that how do you use this transformative to do things like that, like for example drug discovery, for genomics analysis, for cancer treatment, the whole nine yards, right? That's how huge volumes of data do. So they're going in that healthcare area. Google has taken a different route. They want to make everything simple. All I have to do is that I got to call an API, give what I need, and then get it done. But Amazon wants to go at a much deeper level, saying that, I want to provide everything you need. You can customize the whole thing for what you need. When it comes down to, it's no surprise that the top 3 are the hyperscalers, because they all want to bring their business to them to run the specific workloads. And the next biggest workload, as he was saying in his keynote, are 2 things. One is the AI ML workloads. The other one is the heavy unstructured workloads that he was talking about. 80%, 90% of the data that's coming off is unstructured. So how do you analyze that? Such as the geospatial data he was talking about, the volumes of data you need to analyze, the deep neural network you got to use. Only hyperscalers can do it, right? So that's no wonder all of them on top. For the data, one of the things they announced, which not many people paid attention, there was a zero ATL that they talked about. What that does is a little bit of a game-changing moment in a sense that you don't have to, for example, if you have to train the data, if the data is distributed everywhere, if you have to bring them all together to integrate it to do that, it's a lot of work to doing the ETL. So by taking Amazon Aurora and then Redshift, combine them as a zero or no ETL, and then have Apache Spark applications run on top of analytical applications, ML workloads. That's huge, so you don't have to move around the data. Use the data where it is.
I think you said it, they're basically filling holes, right? They created this suite of tools, let's call it. You might say it's a mess. It's not a mess because they're really powerful, but they're not well integrated, and now they're starting to tape the seams, as I say.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. And I would double down and say, look, I think that boring is good. We had that phase in Kubernetes hype cycle where it got boring, and that was kind of like, boring is good. Boring means we're getting better, we're invisible. That's infrastructure, that's in the weeds, that's in between the toes, details, it's the stuff that, we have to get done. So, you look at their 40 new data sources with Data Wrangler, 50 new app flow connectors, Redshift, AutoCloud. This is boring, good, important shit, Dave.
The governance stuff.
You got to get it, and the governance is going to be key. So to me, this may not jump off the page. Adam's keynote also felt a little bit of, we got to get these gaps done in a good way. So I think that's a very positive sign.
Yeah, again, going back to your Snowflake and Databricks announcements, they're a data company. So that's how they made their mark in the market, saying that, I do all these things, therefore I had to have your data because it's a seamless data. And Amazon is catching up with that, with a lot of their announcements they made. How far is going to get traction, to change? One has to say. Particularly when it comes to the models, so they're going at a different angle that, I will help you create the models. We talked about the zero ATL and the whole data. We'll get the data sources in, we'll create the model, we'll move the whole model. We're talking about the MLOps teams here, right? And they have the whole functionality that they built and that they've matured over the years. So essentially they want to become the platform that when you come in, I'm the only platform you would use, from the model training to deployment to inference to model versioning to management, the whole 9 years. And that's the angle they're trying to take. So it's as a one source platform. So Google is more of building solutions angle, like I give you an API kind of thing. But if it comes to vertical industry solutions, Microsoft is ahead, right? Because they have had years of industry experience. There are other smaller clouds that are trying to do that too. IBM being an example. But now they are starting to go after the specific industry use cases. They think that through. For example, the medical one we talked about, right? So they want to build the health lake, security health lake that they're trying to build, which will HIPAA compliant. It'll provide all the European regulations, the whole 9 yards, and it'll help you, personalize things as you need as well. For example, if you go for a certain treatment, it could analyze you based on your genome profile, saying that, the treatment for this particular person has to be individualized this way. But doing that requires enormous power, right? So if you do applications like that, you could bring in a lot of this, whether healthcare, finance, or what have you, and then easy for them to use.
What's the biggest mistake customers make when it comes to machine intelligence, AI, machine learning?
So many things, right? I could start out with even the model. Basically, when you build a model, you should be able to figure out how long that model is effective. Because as good as creating a model and going to the business and doing things the right way, there are people that they leave the model much longer than it's needed. It's hurting your business more than it is. It could be things like that. Or you're not building a responsible AI-related things. You're having a bias in your model. There are so many issues. I don't know if I can pinpoint one, but there are many, many issues. Responsible AI, ethical AI,